let me talk about Chellah tukuta. I honestly, I can't remember the last time I saw and heard anyone as ungrateful as Chellah tukuta. It amazes me. I mean, when I listened to him speak just a few minutes ago, he posted something where he's talking about, and the way he refers to the current president is so disrespectful. It is so abrasive. It is so insolent. It's so insulting that it beggars description. It is beyond description. It honestly baffles me. It behooves me. It perplexes me when I see and hear Chellah tukuta talk about HH in the manner that he's talking about him, knowing full well that the reason Chellah tukuta is where he is today is because of his irresponsible mouth. This idea that he could say and do anything, this idea that he felt that there were no parameters when it came to him, this idea that he had free reign to run amok and to go astray and to be self-bamboozled with no breaks, all because he felt that he was the be-all and end-all. And then here it is, finally, the powers that be said to Chellah, well, Chellah, a diplomat doesn't act like that. A diplomat carries himself or herself with a certain weightiness, a certain decorum. You don't have it. And because you don't have it, because you do not possess it, we're going to ask you to step aside. A few days after that, after he was released, he came back on air and he started talking about how, oh, I didn't know how much, he refers to him as Bali, in reference to HH, the current president. He said, I didn't know how much Bali loved me. And let me echo one of my arch nemesis. And I try not to quote him, but he said this, and I far be it from me to take credit for something I didn't say. Let me quote my arch nemesis, Chellah Ali. Chellah Ali said, and keep in mind, there's not a whole lot that I agree with when it comes to Chellah Ali. 99.9% of the stuff that he says, I totally disagree with. 99.9% of the time, I am diametrically opposed to everything Chellah Ali says and stands for. But it's that 0.1% that he said the other day that I agree with. Tayali said, Chellah tukuta needs to understand that he doesn't have a special relationship with the president. HH loves him just as much as he loves any other Zambian. HH held Chellah tukuta in high regard just as much as he holds any other Zambian in high regard. Tayali's point was Chellah somehow sort of felt that he had a special, unique, standalone relationship with HH, a relationship, a friendship, a union that didn't exist with anybody else on the face of the earth. Tayali's point was Chellah tukuta needs to understand that HH loves him just as much as he loves any other Zambian. That was his point. And I agree with that. But somehow Chellah seemed to have it in his mind that he was different, he was unique, he stood alone, he was in a class of his own. When really, in reality, he wasn't. So here it is now, after he was relieved of his duties. He's no longer in the conclave. And I've told you this many times that State House is a jungle. You must understand that. It is a jungle. There are people in there that love you, some hate you, some want you to be there, some are scheming to get your job, others want you to keep your job. It is a veritable jungle. But here it is, Chellah treated it like it was a field of dreams, when it's anything but a field of dreams. So when he was finally relieved of his duties, he changed his tune. He starts now speaking against HH, speaking against the administration, speaking and biting the hand that fed him. Ooh, boy, I tell you, that's heavy. It's one thing if you're not in the employ of a corporation. That's one thing. But it's a whole different deal when you begin to bite the hand that feeds you. And the only reason you're biting it is because that hand dismissed you because of your own foolishness, your own folly, your own waywardness, your own misguided antics. That's the only reason. I mean, I look back at a time, and this is what breaks my heart. I mean, this shows you just how magnanimous H.H. really was towards Chellah Tukuta. I mean, H.H. bent over backwards for Chellah. What didn't H.H. do for Chellah? When Chellah was first arrested, one of the first things H.H. said, and it's on record, H.H. said, we're going to take you out. We're going to bust you out of there, boy. If and when God gives us the opportunity to serve this nation, hate has placed you, I mean, your own irresponsibility, because I've always maintained that Chellah Tukuta was wrong for insulting Dora the way that he did. I've always said that. I've never supported Tukuta in that area. My videos are there. I've always said it. In fact, I did say back in those days, I said that Chellah would go to prison because that was defamation of the highest order. I've never supported Chellah Tukuta's antics and calling Dora what he called her. I've never supported that. But H.H., because H.H. liked this guy, Chellah, H.H. said, we're going to bust you out. We're going to take you out of there. And sure enough, when the administration won, one of the things that happened was a short time afterwards, we heard that Chellah was released. Not only was released, Chellah was given a job. Not only was he given a job, he started acting crazy, and the administration said, well, you know what, you're acting a fool, so let's send you off to some far-flung country, see if you can act right. Well, he went over there, he started acting crazy. That didn't work. And then he got into some scuffle with the Olios, or Olis, and the final straw, I can't even say it on here. I mean, it would be wrong for me to even attempt to repeat what Chellah Tukuta said about that family. The most disrespectful, the most abrasive, the most crass, you know the word crass? The most repugnant, the most repudiating, the most anathema things that any one person can say about another female. But all of that was just being swept under the rug until finally somebody over there at Foreign Affairs said, no, Chellah, you can't act crazy. We've got an administration to run. We've got a rep to protect. They kicked him to the curb. The moment they kicked him to the curb, the moment they fired him, then he starts now yapping and, busting the chops. Now today he says, oh no, the administration needs to be humble. And then he says, I'm nonpartisan. But a few minutes ago he was saying, we have to change and we have to do this and we have to do that. And then right in mid-sentence says, I'm nonpartisan. Chellah doesn't know what he wants. He is lost in the wilderness. And it's very sad to witness. It really is.